Speaking again of gameplay, the game does not have an abundance of boss fights, but the ones it does have are pretty challenging affairs. They move fast or limit your movement, often presenting puzzles that you need to solve to complete their phase. They're not a massive part of the game, but they are not also terrible. They break up the monotony of the standard enemies and are full of spectacle, which is essential in a game like this. The final boss in particular is something else and has a real menacing presence. However, their structure means that failing to defeat them sets you back to the beginning of the fight or a phase. That's the trouble with puzzle-based bosses, is that there's not a real good way to come into the middle of a puzzle and finish it out. This can make the bosses tedious at times, but if you adapt quickly, then it's not that big a deal. Knack promises a lot, but does not quite deliver. It has a broad appeal thanks to its visual presentation and its cast of easily likable characters. But its difficulty means that most casual players will never give it enough time to get to know said characters. For gamers, the complexity of the narrative is not on par with what they have come to expect from other platform mascots like Ratchet & Clank, Jak and Daxter. But it's also not humorous enough to stand in for likes of Spyro or Crash Bandicoot. Gamers might appreciate the difficulty if the controls function well enough to make the difficulty feel fair, but this is sadly not the case. The game does feel better playing co-op than single player, but what game doesn't feel better with couch co-op? The game is not bad. It's perfectly serviceable as an inexpensive budget title. Unfortunately, that's not what they were shooting for. I think the main issue is the game was designed by a committee. A whole bunch of people showed up to a pitch meeting and shouted out a whole bunch of catchphrase ideas that all got implemented haphazardly. It's not user-friendly enough to be for casual gamers, but it's not refined enough to be for fans of PlayStation's past mascot games. It wants to be everything all at once, and just could not stick the landing. I want to like the game, but in the end, I always sort of feel let down by it. The only way I can recommend it would be couch co-op with friends and family, and also just to experience that time in the PlayStation 4's original launch window where, these games were trying to cater to as wide an audience as possible. So as a historical curiosity and as a pretty decent couch co-op family game, that's really the only way I can recommend it.